Boom. Oh, there we go. All right, everything is all good to go. All right, we're all ready. Hey everyone, it's Steven from Tostemac, and welcome to another special guest live stream. And today our special guest is Mr. Kadin McElwain. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being on the show. So, yeah, to tell you the truth, this has actually been in the works for quite a while now because I think how it all started was you saw my inspiring autism stories, those short documentaries, and we were trying to make one for you at some point.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, so now with this we could actually do it live. And we also got a couple viewers, Michael Skyline, Sharon Starkey. Good to see you both. All right. So, like before, we got a list of questions, but before we get to them, Kaden, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like what your introduction to autism was like, how did your parents react, and how did you feel about the whole autism journey so far?
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed with autism when I was 2 years old and had during that time, which was 2006. So you know what the mindset about neurodiversity was. People questioned my capabilities, starting with the very doctor that diagnosed me. But my parents weren't going to listen to him, especially not my dad. So they pushed me to my extremes because they knew what I was capable of and invested time after resource into me to make me the person I am today. My official introduction came when my parents told me about my diagnosis when I was 10 years old, and I didn't understand it fully at 10, and who would at the time? But the more I learned about it, the more I realized that autism isn't necessarily something to be ashamed of. My journey into autism advocacy specifically began when I was a freshman in college with a class project where we had to think of a way to help the community and act upon it. But I chose to start a GoFundMe for an organization called the Autism Society of America, and I realized my generation wasn't really into it much. They were only into various causes, especially autism awareness, for brownie points and a reward. So I figured
Really?
the only
Wow.
way this generation is going to understand autism is if they hear from someone who's lived it and who's crushed it. I'm a
Exactly.
college graduate officially now, and of course, here I am today.
Nice. Congratulations. Congratulations on that, man. Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
It's like it kind of sounds similar to when I got my diagnosis. I'm like, and my mom loves telling this story. So the doctors bring mom into a room. They have her sit at the table, and then one of the doctors slides a box of tissues over, and then mom's like, "Okay, so what's this for?" And so the doctor was like, "So we want you to brace yourself for this, but we believe your son is autistic." And my mom is like, "Well, no, duh, Sherlock. What's next?" so it sounds like your parents really supported you and kept pushing you because they believe in the potential you have.
Hey, Dad, hadn't anyone, neurodivergent or not, should have those types of parents in their lives because the lack of that support and that strictness is why a lot of our generation doesn't have respect for the value of hard work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way because, it was like when my dad anyway, saw the potential I had. He always kept pushing me to try harder, try better, and it's like one of the things he told me is that I'll never forget it. It's like I know I keep pushing hard, but never doubt that I love you. And it's like that kind of stuck with me because him being strict and him making sure I'm staying focused, it came from a place of love. He actually believed in what I could do, what I can achieve, and just to make sure that I can reach my potential. And it sounds like that's a similar case with you.
It definitely is.
Nice. That's cool. So, the next one is, how was your time throughout school and college? Were there any groups or projects you participated in that stood out? Like I know you mentioned about the GoFundMe page a little before. And were there also other parts you participated in too?
Mm, but yes, I'll talk about one experience in college because I feel like it's relevant how people on the spectrum can be taken advantage of. When I was in my sophomore year, I was doing incredibly well in one particular class, media journalism, or writing for the media, I think it was called. It was a journalism class,
Uh huh.
and my professor contacted a friend of hers who worked in politics and said that I should be offered a job. From there, I worked with him for a couple of months, up to a year, on a super PAC for the Republican Party, and it honestly made me uncomfortable on the inside, but on the outside, I was absorbing the ideologies of hatefulness and negativity politics brings like a sponge.
Wow.
When ironically, I wasn't even involved in actually running a specific campaign's candidate's campaign. I was just involved in a super PAC, which is a PSA. But I still felt like, looking back at it, I was taken advantage of and exploited by that individual. Well, because I was doing something that made me uncomfortable.
I mean, did you talk to like HR or other supervisors
Oh,
about it? Because it sounded pretty serious.
no, no, it was just one person running it. I was
Okay.
getting paid good for it too, 17 an hour, which was the most I have ever gotten paid for a job. It wasn't even taxed.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
definitely a
mainly
lot.
responsible for getting the host on to various media platforms. Him, I, he cut him off completely when he failed to communicate with me that he was struggling financially from all the work after the super PAC was over.
Wow.
Er,
Wow, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Like, that sounded really rough. Like, how did you, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, how did you manage to cope with all that? Because, like, I know there are some people who rather try to avoid, sensitive topics and political stuff, but it sounds like you were, like, right in the thick of it. Like, how did you manage to go through that, if you don't mind me asking, of course?
I don't mind at all. At first, I was spouting off Republican ideologies. My, my parents made me realize what I was doing. And as soon as I realized what I had become, I broke down in tears because that's not the type of person I am. I've been called this person, said I didn't want to be involved in the political stuff anymore, but I would be more than happy to continue with this music stuff. He was also a musician, but somehow he still found a way to sneak the politics into the music stuff too, which made
Wow.
the situation 10 times worse. I mean, I was getting paid heavily, getting experiences that looked great on a resume, but
But the problem
my question
is
was,
like he
was it
was
worth it?
like sneaking stuff in, like, kind of going against his word. And it's like, and you clearly mentioned that, you didn't want to be, involved in politics. And it sounded like he was still trying to sneak stuff in anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
Wow.
And I decided to get back into it this year after seeing where our country stands. But the thing is, I'm doing it on my own terms, on my own way, and going on to various podcasts centered around politics specifically to showcase our generation that you don't have to be hateful to be in politics. You just have to form your own beliefs.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like, that's one thing that's been kind of missing lately. It's like, it feels, sorry, let me get my words right. It's like you mentioned, like, just because we talk about political stuff or politics stuff doesn't always mean it has to be like hateful. It's like, it's about, what you believe in and, like, getting your own message out there. So, like, major props for, like, standing up for yourself and saying, like, like, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. I want to do things my way. So, major props to you on that one.
Thank you, bro.
So, sorry, let me get my words right. It's been a long day at work. So, let's see. Our next question is, our next question is, what exactly got you started on autism advocacy and when exactly? And was it a specific moment that triggered this, or was it like a gradual buildup? Like, I know you mentioned a little bit of this on when you did the fundraiser project for an autism group, but was it like from that moment, or was it like a gradual buildup, or?
That was the exact moment I realized that her generation needs a voice for the autism community.
Yeah, it's like, and that's kind of like the biggest thing right now. It's like, there's a lot of people talking about, autism awareness and acceptance, but it's like the most powerful thing that's gonna make a difference right now is like, not only inclusion, but also like, making sure other autistic people had their voice heard, which is kind of the reason why I started the special guest live stream so that, other autistic people can have their voices heard too. So, have there been any recent projects or recent podcasts that you've been on lately?
As I said, I'm going on a bit of a podcast tour within the political stratosphere,
Oh,
but
wow.
one major company I've been doing work for regularly is called Autism Digest. It's an
Ooh.
autism magazine that was started in 1999. I got involved last year, and I've done several interviews and articles and unboxings for them, including a couple that were published yesterday and today.
Wow. So, like, is Autism Digest like a major media group for the for the autistic community? Because I've heard about this like once before, but I never got around. I had to be honest, I never got around to like learning more about it. So, what is Autism Digest about?
It's the number one autism resource magazine in the country. We regularly feature neurodivergent individuals on our YouTube channel, and we regularly talk with public figures within various forms of media or politics or literature to discuss ways we can improve those industries to make them more neurodivergent friendly.
That's awesome. Yeah, because like we definitely need more like neurodivergent friendly environments, like with public places and also possibly jobs and whatnot. Um, but like it sounds like things are going well with your current job so far. So what do you currently do?
Well, as I said, I regularly do stuff with Autism Digest. I'm continuing to network within the realm of nonprofit. I'm hoping to do work beyond autism awareness eventually. And as for my day job, I work at a grocery store currently. It's nothing too crazy, but you gotta pay the bills somehow.
Oh, I hear you. Like my current job is like a pro sales associate at the Home Depot. Like it's not exactly one of those jobs where it's like for years I dreamed about working at this job. But like you said, it helps pay the bills. And it's kind of like one of those hard realities where it's like you don't always land like your dream job right away. Sometimes you have to get a job that you're comfortable enough to like, pay the bills and whatnot. And it definitely sounds like you're getting well connected. In fact, if you're interested, I could try to get you connected with Best Buddies because that's like an international organization. I feel like they would benefit a lot from you.
That would be awesome, bro.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll see if I can get you a couple connections and get you connected with them. Looking forward to that. Let's see. Let's see. So throughout that, let me get my words right. Throughout this interview, you mentioned before about dealing with political stuff, dealing with um misconceptions about autism or what the autistic community needs. The next question is, how did you have to deal with some of the stigmas surrounding autism, and have people confronted you directly about these stigmas?
All the time, but I always surprise them. and by proving those individuals wrong and opening their eyes to what our community is capable of, which is honestly the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like the best way to, go about a situation like that. And it's like, it's one of those phrases I coined a while back called educate, not berate. Because I feel like one of the biggest problems that's been going on right now, especially in social media, I'm sure you've seen it, where it's like, people get into these like back and forth arguments that sometimes get a little too personal and like they kind of steer away from like what was the main point of the disagreement in the first place. But it's like, as you said, the best way to go about it is, to prove people wrong and prove to others, what you can do. Like, were there times where maybe it was like a little harder than usual, or like was there a like specific situation where it's like this really challenged you in a way?
Mm, No, there were no specific times, and even if there were, I don't usually give those individuals the time of day.
That's actually a very nice way to go about it because, like, there are some people that, no matter what you do, they're just not going to listen. So, like you said, it's usually best, like, if they're not going to listen, just don't give them time of day. And, when, and it's like when you're first starting out, like, it's kind of hard to gauge that. But I feel like when you interact with enough people, you start to understand, like, okay, these people are going to listen, but these people are not. Like, when was it that you started to figure that out? Like, which people you're going to invest in and which ones you're not going to give the time of day to because they're not going to listen.
I don't give the time of day to the negative individuals because they're the ones who are insecure about their own situation and feel the need to take it out on others.
Yeah, and that's always kind of sad, really, where it's like, they feel bad about themselves, but they can only feel good about making up by making others feel bad. That's just sad, really. Um, so the next one is, you mentioned before about being a guest speaker for autism advocacy. I was wondering, like, throughout your career with the autistic community, how did your actions and speeches change people's lives for the better? And like, how did it make you feel knowing that, the work you do has been making a difference in people's lives?
It definitely feels good. I'm just a dude who believes in our cause, honestly. I don't do it for the praise and brownie points. As long as I can inspire my generation, that's what makes this worth it, amend.
And I feel like that's what makes it like the biggest, like what makes an actual difference, because like, if people are doing that, like, like you said, for brownie points, or like, just to say I did this or just to look good, then it feels kind of empty in a way. Like, it looks good on paper, but it's not really, changing much in the long run. It's like maybe something a little short term, but not really, what's the word? Not really investing, for lack of a better word, in terms of like, the long run. So it's like you really believe in like, making the actual effort, actually believing in the cause, and like investing towards not just like, short term accomplishments, but making a long term difference later on.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Let's see. So let's see. The next one is so the next one is, what are you planning to be in your sorry, what do you plan to have as your career? Like, where do you see yourself in like maybe a few years in the future? Because I don't think anybody would want to work retail forever. I certainly don't.
Definitely not. I'm hoping to continue the work I'm doing for this community, but eventually I could see myself in some form of local political office.
Oh, political office. Okay. So like, is there any like particular place in or particular position in politics that you want to be a part in? Like, um maybe something to do to help special needs community or maybe like human resources? Um,
I was thinking more like a city council or school board
okay.
position to start, and then working my way up to the White House or the mayor's office or whatever.
Well, it sounds like you're getting a good track on like what positions to go and like where you want to go in the long run. And that's actually really good where it's like you have these smaller goals that ultimately lead to like this bigger goal. And we always know that like there's always ways to improve the situations in schools and whatnot, like whether it be as simple as like the cafeteria food or like policies for helping special needs students. So like I feel like there's always an opportunity to improve things. So like just hypothetically speaking, if you were in a position where you can help change or improve policies on like schools, whether it be public or private, um, in regards to like how they assist special needs students, did you had any like particular changes you had in mind?
Mm, when I was younger, I had infantile ideas like making stricter bullying policies where bullies get expelled after one strike. But as I got older, I realized that I need to come up with my own ideas. So, not at this moment, but you'll probably see come the next election, hopefully.
Well, certainly looking forward to that. Yeah, it's like it starts off with this initial idea, but then it's like maybe like later on you start to think like, okay, what about the repercussions of that? On paper it sounds good, like if you get bullying, if you do bullying once, one strike, you're gone. But then there's like the ideas of like, oh wait, what if this was like a misunderstanding or like someone worded it wrong or like maybe there's an opportunity for change. So there's different factors to take into account for that. But it sounds like you got some good ideas coming up. Um, let's see. So the last advice I have before I see if there's any questions from the chat is if you have any advice for any autistic people or relatives watching this right now, whether it be live or like watching it later, what would that advice be?
My advice would be your diagnosis doesn't define you. And if people think that, as I said, that's because they're insecure about their own capabilities.
And that's like a really key point. It's like, like the title autism doesn't define us. Like we're more than just like a diagnosis or a label. That each of us is our own person. Like we each have our own unique traits to bring to the table. Like you've accomplished so much over the years, like whether it be school or college or like with Autism Digest and the work you do at your full-time job right now. Like you've accomplished so much over the years. You should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so it looks like we got one question from the chat. um so Faith Sola was asking, do you have any siblings? And if so, are they neurodivergent or neurotypical?
That's a good one. I have five five siblings, one older and four younger, and they're all neurotypical as far as I know.
Oh,
One or
God.
two may have ADHD.
Uh huh. Like, wow, hold on. Five siblings? Like, I have a
Yes,
hard
sir.
enough time keeping track of two. Like, you have to keep track of four siblings. Wow. So you meant so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Tell us more about your siblings if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I have one older sister, two younger brothers, and two younger sisters.
Wow. So like where do you fit within those five? Are you like the responsible one, making sure nobody else gets into trouble, or
I'm the second oldest.
oh, okay. So kind of like the second in command to like the oldest sibling, right? Is that how it usually goes?
Um, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like for me, like I only have one younger brother. And then like my older brother he was basically the troublemaker of the three. And like basically I had to make sure that okay, like, Dale's gonna do whatever he wants. Like I just gotta make sure the parents and relatives don't get mad. So, and how have they been doing? Like, have they been doing well? Like, have they been working into like any projects within the autistic community, or like, are they each doing their own thing?
They're each doing their own thing. The younger four are still in grade school, so we're definitely not doing any projects or podcasts just yet, but
Well, that's probably good. We each got to enjoy our childhood because it doesn't last forever.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So one last call for the chat. I'll probably give it like a couple minutes before we go ahead and wrap this up. And while we're waiting for the any last minute questions, I do want to thank you so much, Kadin, for like being a part of the special guest live stream today. Like I know this was like a long time coming, and we schedule things here and there, but it's like now that we actually got the chance to, actually do this, like this is definitely worth the wait. It's definitely a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and Michael Skyline says, this isn't a question, but I want to thank you for being a guest to the stream. This has been really informative.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Oh, I think we may have answered that one already, but just double check. Faith says, "Are your siblings neurodivergent or neurotypical?" I think you mentioned two of them were possibly ADHD or something.
Yeah, two of them might be. I don't really know. I honestly haven't asked them.
Oh, all right. Well, it's like some people might be more open about it, others might not be. So it's like it's more on an individual basis. All right, so, excuse me. I think that might be it for all the questions. So, yeah, again, thank you so much, Kadin, for being a special guest and making the time today. This has been really awesome, and it's really amazing to like hear your story and hear about your growth and how far you've come over the years and all the amazing things that you're doing right now. It's like it's absolutely amazing. So definitely keep at it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. And of course, for those watching live or watching later, if you have any more questions, you can let us know in the comment section below. And thank you for watching this, whether you're watching it live or later. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. Oh, one more thing. Kadin, you mentioned about Autism Digest. Do you have like your own profile or your own page on there that people could go check out?
They can check out the Autism Digest page. That's where all my interviews are posted.
Okay, awesome. Let me go grab that real quick. Just so that people can check you out more. Let's see. Let's see. So it's like www.autismdigest.com.
Well, you can use that or the YouTube channel. I put it in our little Zoom chat.
Oh, perfect. Actually, let me go ahead and grab that then real quick. Let's see. Where is it? Here we are. Copy link. There we go. So that way our viewers can also check out your YouTube channel. And you're still active on your channel? Like, do you post there regularly?
I do. Like I said, I had two that were published yesterday and today.
That's awesome. All right. So yeah, I posted a link to the to the YouTube channel. So like, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out, and I'll post about it again tomorrow. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the stream, everybody. And again, thank you so much, Kadin, for being a part of the stream. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night.